Hi everyone, I'm here with a quick update on Project Free Our Knowledge for AIMOS 2020 and also anyone else out there who's interested in what we're getting up to. So Project Free Our Knowledge is a platform that aims to help researchers solve collective action problems in academia. And we know there's a problem because we individuals are incentivized to act in ways that aren't in the group's best interest. Now, the most obvious example of this is that we're all encouraged to publish as many papers as possible in supposedly prestigious legacy journals, irrespective of the reliability or transparency of that work. And this is ultimately working against our aims to become open in the way we do things and adopt open science practice more broadly. Now, obviously, any one individual could take a stand against this and refuse to publish in these legacy journals ever again, and instead just support free electronic open access journals. But depending on the person's circumstances, there's a good chance by doing so they'd be committing career suicide, because those new electronic journals don't have the reputation that have been built up over decades of these other journals. Now take that same individual and place them in the context of a much larger group of people taking the same action, and you have a very different story. Because now that much larger group of people have collective publishing power, and by boycotting certain journals, they would be decreasing the reputation of those journals and instead injecting the value that they provide into these new systems and boosting their prestige and reputation to a point that they could escape this incentive trap that keeps us locked into legacy systems. Now, this concept has worked for centuries in the context of industrial disputes. And more recently, this idea of collective action has been brought online with platforms like Kickstarter and Collaction that allow anyone in the world to make a conditional pledge subject to there being a level of support in their community before they take action. And really what Free Our Knowledge is trying to do is just take this same approach but bring it to academia. So instead of kickstarting products, we're interested in kickstarting new behavioral norms in different research communities. So the way it works is that anyone can come along and propose a campaign that asks their peers to adopt a progressive behavior, subject to there being a certain level of support in their field. Now, this could be anything from publishing a preprint or uploading some data or supporting any of the thousands of great open science initiatives out there that need community support. Now, once that campaign has been designed, we put it on the website and put it out to the crowd. And at this point, anyone in the world can come along and make an anonymous pledge to act on that campaign if and when the critical mass of support is met. And crucially, at this point, there's no risk to that person because they're not asked to do anything. Their pledge can remain anonymous if they like. And so they're not placing their careers at risk. But at the point when we do get that large enough critical mass of support to protect individuals, then that's the point at which we will list everybody on the website and contact them to direct them to carry out the campaign alongside their peers. So we launched this project a year ago and posted a few prototype campaigns. Each of these campaigns asked researchers to boycott certain journals that didn't support certain open science, open access practices. And you could view this as a kind of stepwise progression over time as we sequentially ask researchers to gradually shift the value they provide from legacy systems under the current system to progressive open access and free electronic systems in the future. Now, each campaign asks people to enter a few options, and over the last year and a bit, we've attracted 172 users and 148 pledges to these campaigns. Now, I'm ready to admit that these campaigns are probably not the ideal format for what we're trying to achieve because they were asking for thousands or even tens of thousands of pledges before those pledges activate. And alongside that, I've been seeking feedback from the community to see what people think we should do moving forward. And a lot of the feedback we've received have suggested that those campaigns offered people too many options and were giving people decision fatigue or were too confusing. In addition, the impact threshold we were proposing is potentially too confusing or complicated. And in addition, some people were just simply waiting to see if this idea had traction before they made the pledge. So in line with all of this feedback, we've been designing a new range of campaigns, each of which is going to be much simpler and just ask people to commit to a single action like uploading some data or posting a preprint, and we'll use relatively small thresholds like tens, hundreds of pledges before they activate. And the idea here is that if we can gradually push the academic system in multiple directions, some of those campaigns will reach the critical threshold and take off. And those campaigns can then be built on in future with ever larger targets like thousands or tens of thousands campaigns as this movement grows. So all of this design process is happening on our GitHub repository, which is now open for community collaboration and input. And if you jump on there, you'll see that we've already had quite a few campaigns proposed in various domains and interests. And they've got different levels of traction, and we'll be using the comments and likes of these issues to decide which we should move ahead in the short term on the platform. And so I just want to highlight that we have now posted the first of this new series of campaigns to the website. And this is a campaign that asks researchers to pre-register at least one study in the next 2 years. And those pledges will activate when 100 researchers in each field have signed the campaign. Now, of course, if you want to get started earlier, you can, of course. But for anyone out there who's already committed to pre-registration and planning to do it anyway, I would still encourage you to join this campaign, because by doing so, you'll be helping to normalize pre-registration in your field, demonstrate to funders and institutions that this is something that we want and are committed to seeing happening. And most importantly, helping motivate other people in your field who might not be as bold as you, but would be willing to pre-register a study if they had greater support in their community. So that's basically it. I'd encourage you to please check out the website and the campaigns that we currently have up there at freeourknowledge.org. You can, of course, follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Project FOC. And if you've got time, please check out our GitHub repository and check out those campaigns that have been proposed, add any comments that you like, or raise any other issues using the issues feature. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention. And I'd also like to thank the organizations that have agreed to help with our reach on this project, as well as all of these awesome contributors who have contributed to the project in some way to date. Thanks, everyone.